What's up, clickers? I'm Sean from Nonsensical, and if there's three things we love here, it's lights, camera, and action. That's right, today it's time for our countdown of the top 10 movies of all time. So get your popcorn and your movies, and let's get right to it. Number 10, Citizen Kane. This movie's really old. It was shot in black and white, but still we watch it now. Back then, nobody knew what movies were, but then Citizen Kane came out and blew the hearts of all my friends. Citizen Kane is the story of a young boy who grows up to be a mean man and rude, and then eventually dies, and all that in the span of 90 minutes. Citizen Kane may be dead, but Roseburg lives on in our hearts forever. Number 9, Guardians of the Galaxy. Now everyone knows this is John here at the office's favorite movie. We might as well put him in the Guardians ourselves. Guardians of the Galaxy is my best movie yet, with so many songs from the before times. Who could come up with such a layered idea other than James Gunn, who has directed other films such as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 and Murdering My Wife. Number 8, The Dark Knight Rises. One freaking word, Christopher Nolan! This guy's a god amongst men. In this movie, Batman comes back to fight the greatest champion he's ever faced since the Jorker, Bane. Batman is joined in this movie by blonde bombshell Michelle Pfeiffer as they take on the greatest crime industry in the world, which is secretly run by Batman's old master and mentor, Ra's al Ghul, who is more known and referred to as in the comics as the Mandarin. Dark Knight Rises is so sick, especially my favorite character Bane, who is almost as good as my favorite villain, the Jorker. At the end, it turns out that Ra's al Ghul is actually a woman and fucked Batman. What a stellar ending for our hero Bruce. Number 7, Breathless. Number 6, Batman Begins. One word, Batman Begins. This movie tells the origin story never before heard of the one and the only, the Batman. Batman begins the story of Batman, who is the titular character. Scarecrows, monsters, and Liam Neeson make for an epic ride that can only be rivaled by another movie starring Batman, Liam Neeson, Scarecrow, and other monsters. Only it could be better if it had my favorite monster, the Jorker. Ah! Number 5, Empire Strikes Back. This is my favorite Star Wars movie. It introduced so many things like lightsabers, severed hands, survival-only vor, and my personal favorite, Yoda Swamp Magic. Who needs anything when you have a nice glass of cold vodka sour milk, Viagra, and Empire Strikes Back on DVD on Christmas Eve? Take that, Dad. Who could forget the snow fight, Desert Troopers, the Spy Droid, C-3PO, and Boba Fett? Jabba the Hutt is one thing, but Boba Fett? What happened to when Episode 7 was still about Boba Fett coming back for his revenge with double lightsaber? Talk about badass. Where's that, Disney? I hate The Last Jedi. Number 4, The Matrix. Imagine if your entire life was a simulation. Well, in this sci-fi fantasy epic by my favorite directors, the Wachowski sisters, it sure is. It should come as no surprise that this movie came out in the 90s with all the computer lingo going on. Speak English, for God's sake. Despite the movie being Korean, it has some great scenes of fighting the man, the machine, and even yourself. I know Kung Fu. If you like John Wick and punishing yourself, give this underrated gem a try. Number 3, The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan or Jesus Christ? This guy's so good. This movie could only ever be made by a true artist. Batman like you've never seen him before, except let's get real, the real showstopper here is Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, aka the Jorker. Let's take a look at what makes Jorker so good. Number 1, my Halloween costume. Number 2, Heath Ledger died trying to be Jorker. Number 3, tells it like it is. Number 4, total badass. Number 5, fights the man and not afraid to speak his mind.
I'm the Joker, baby!
This movie is so good it really makes you think, should I bomb my local library? Should I take my AR into a crowded public space and start gunning down innocent bystanders in the pursuit of a greater moral purpose? Did you know that Christopher Nolan actually did a truck flip for this entire movie? And did you know that the Jorker scene with the hospital explosion was actually improvised, and that it was because the pyrotechnics actually messed up and didn't blow up on time, and then he had to do it and he looked back, and then when he blew up and he reacted that way, the reason it looked so real is because it actually was real. And did you know that Hans Zimmer recorded the entire soundtrack for this specifically for Christian Bale to play the Batman, because he said that no, this is finally the real Batman, the guy who finally gets to be the Cape and Cowl Crusader, and finally get him to go mano-a-mano 1v1 with the Jorker, my favorite masked monster. Number 2, The Shawshank Redemption. You know I love a good prison movie with the gay rapings and the neo-Nazis and the mean warden and the big guy and the little guy, but nothing quite tops Shawshank Redemption. In this movie, they actually put a bunch of men into a real prison and locked them in there for many days and nights, did not let them eat and sleep, and even beat them with whips, chains, and balls. When the warden blows his brains out, that's because it's actually real life. He actually blew his brains out all over the wall for the movie. Now that's dedication if I've ever seen it. Number 1, Fight Club.